Hello, love. Yes, the hood is for emphasis. I just got out of therapy, so obviously this is my therapy video. I was apprehensive at first, mainly because last week he had said that we would talk about my mother, and that is a lot to unpack, exceptionally so. I didn't know where I would begin to talk. I didn't know what I would say. But I guess thankfully we didn't talk about her at all. We did come to the conclusion, though, that next week we will. I did ask him to prepare some questions because I wouldn't know exactly where to start. I told him it felt like I was opening a box with a 1,000,000-piece puzzle and just pouring all the pieces out and feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to begin. So he told me he would give me questions for next week. He would ask and we would go from there. Because literally, if any of you who has known me know me, you know my mother has played a complete control in the downfall of my mental health for a very, very long time. And I've told her the same. So she knows. That's why I try to do my best for my kids. I don't ever want them turning out like me. I want them to know always that they are loved, that they are wanted, and they are needed, while also teaching them to be good, to be kind, to be trustworthy, to be loyal, especially to those that they care about. So, what actually carried the discussion this week was the events that happened yesterday. My yesterday was just a complete mess of stress and things that have happened, and my entire stress, even at this moment, is out of control. And there's absolutely nothing I can do about any of it. I went to work on the pretense that I was not going to be there, that I was going to be training across the street for a different role that I really didn't want to do to begin with, but they want to cross-train everyone. Okay, understandable. I show up at 6:45. Nothing unusual. That's when I'm normally at work. And I wait. The door and the office to where I was supposed to wait never opened. No one ever came. It was dark. 8 o'clock rolls around. Still no one. I take the time to message my boss throughout the entire process to let him know that I was there, but nobody else was. That I wasn't just pulling his leg or trying to take the day off or anything like that. Because, hey, guess what? Companies don't trust you. So, 8 o'clock comes around, nobody's there, I head back into work. obviously, because I wasn't supposed to be at work to begin with, I did not have my truck to do my job, because they were using it to train other people, cross-training other people to do other things as well, which was fine. The preparations were there, like I wasn't supposed to be there, so can't be mad about that. It was actually a good idea on them to do that in that regard. So for the first couple of hours, I really did nothing at work. I walked around, cleaned up here and there, helped some people on their breaks, and blah, 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 until I finally got my truck back. And then work went slow. Obviously slow. So, as I was about, it was getting really late. I did deliver my flowers and chocolates to the people I wanted to deliver them to. But I already made a video about that. But as I was leaving, my boss came and got me and basically told me that I got stopped the day before, which I did, and I didn't have my signature on a safety sheet. So instead of going through the normal reprimanding criteria, I immediately went to the very top. So now I get suspended on Friday. I get an extra day off of work with no pay. And I have to write a letter of admission that I didn't write my name on one single paper. I'm being made an example of. Then I find out that I guess the city came and mowed my yard with no notice whatsoever. So I'm more than likely going to be getting a bill from the city for like $200 because they decided to come mow my yard without a notice. This will make the second time in 2 years that they have done something without notifying me first for no reason. And my yard wasn't even meant to be mowed yet. There wasn't any high weeds. There wasn't anything on the ground. I had a couple of bicycles in the front. And that's it. They still did it. Which increases my stress. So basically, we talked about my stress. And he said specifically that he was amazed that with everything that I've told him while I've been going to him, that I haven't tried to hurt myself in some way. He said that there's a certain type of resilience that I seem to have that most people don't have. That if that was just one day, and how many days like that have I had? I've had a few. That most people would just fold in some way, shape, or form. I reminded him that I promised myself that I wouldn't do anything rash to hurt myself in any way. But if something happened to me that was not of my control, I'm not going to be sad by it. But he wanted to make sure that I knew that there's just something strong in being able to keep going, even in the amount of stress and things that I deal with. I didn't know how I could deal with it sometimes. And I told him, I was like, it's kind of experience. When you deal with it, when you deal with everything that I've dealt with in my entire life, you just come to take it. I told him it was like a sea captain who's been out at sea for far too long. When he hits a storm that he's normally used to, he steadies himself and just goes right into it. What else are you going to do? So, he applauded my use of humor in trying to weather the storms that I deal with. Even though he knows it's a trauma response. Imagine that. And then he talked about love. Asked if my feelings have been changing yet since I haven't seen or heard from her. Wondered if I was going to do anything spectacular for her for Valentine's Day. And I said no, because I don't have anything planned for her for Valentine's Day. But that I had already gave her flowers and flowers and candy like I did everybody else at work. Of course, she didn't see me do it. But I mean, who else could it be? I reminded him about last Valentine's Day. I didn't really remind him, but I kind of told him everything that happened. The same thing that I've made a video about on here as well. He asked about you too, Penguin. Because yes, I bring you up. I showed him the picture of my makeup. We kind of talked about what I hope to do this weekend. So, I guess we'll see. Weather permitting. That was my visit in a nutshell. I'm still super stressed. Maybe I need alcohol. Maybe I need edibles.